everybody. Happy Sunday, and welcome to another episode of the Now That You Mention It podcast with Roll, Jay, and RJ.
I'm Roll.
I'm Jay.
And I'm RJ.
Hey, guys, we just want to thank everybody for all the love and support. Thank you for all the feedback, for our tournament. Everything's going really, really well. We're going to announce the winner of last week's tournament later on. But first, just want to remind you, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you can just hit the like and subscribe button down at the bottom, right, and ring the little bell. That way you get all of our notifications. You can also listen to us, our audio podcast on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and iHeartRadio. And soon we're going to be coming to a couple of different other formats, but I got to get some approval on those first. So we're kind of ramping it up, trying to get out there as much as we can. But don't forget to give our social media some love, guys. Come visit our Facebook page. Come visit us on Instagram, and come hit us up on Reddit. We really love to hear all the feedback, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether you think we're crazy, whether you think we're stuck, whether you don't like the Cowboys, whether you love the Cowboys, whether you think the Stars got hosed in that second game, whatever. But give us some feedback, bring us some love, and guys, how are y'all doing tonight?
Doing okay, man. Particularly since last week, the Dallas Cowboys, while getting their tails handed to them for most of the game, came back, had an awesome finish, and a win is a win, baby. A win is a win.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have a group chat, a group text message for our fantasy league, and man, there was a whole lot of F-bombs being dropped on Sunday, and
I'll say it.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny is because our youngest sister, the younger of our two sisters, is in our fantasy group this year, and I was kind of cringing a little bit, but then I was like, nah, she can handle it. She's got 7 brothers, 6 brothers. She knows what she's doing, and I guarantee she probably dropped the F-bomb herself. So, but yeah, your boys pulled it off. That was the most ridiculous final 2 minutes of any game in the history of ever, man. That onside kick. I don't know what Atlanta was thinking.
But thank God they were thinking it. That's all I got to say.
But
thank God they were thinking it.
I've never seen a kick like that before. I've never seen somebody put the ball on the ground like that and spin it like that. It was crazy. No,
I agree. And the entire time I was just like, someone's going to jump on it. Someone's going to jump on it.
Yeah.
And they got closer and closer and closer. And when they got to 10 yards and nobody had touched it, I was like, oh, my God, we're going to get this. And when we came up with that, you knew.
Yeah, I kind of agree with a lot of the commentary, on ESPN, on the ticket. It looked like Atlanta thought that they had to wait for it to go 10 yards as well before they got on the ball.
Yeah.
Because it looked like they were trying to box people out. I mean, it looked like an NBA game.
Well, it's funny that you say you hadn't seen a kick like that before, because I actually saw it was from a Cowboy. It was against us. It's the special teams coach who's now our special teams coach actually used it against us, I believe, when he was with the Rams, or I can't remember what team it was, but I know I saw the clip post game where he used it against us. So kind of thought it was us doing it this time instead of it being done to us. But for all intents and purposes, it was a
win is a win.
Yeah, exactly. A win is a win. Just want to say thank you to my fantasy team for whooping some butt.
Man, that was an epic ass whooping right there.
You know what, guys? We're here to talk about a movie challenge.
Let's talk about another winner. Our winner from last week's poll between Casablanca and Spartacus, and on the show. Casablanca took it 3-1 because Roland had to be the dissenting vote, and then on the polls, Casablanca took it again. So it looks like Casablanca's moving into the finals, man. Great job, Casablanca. Very happy for you. One of my favorite movies. One of the best movies in the tournament.
Spartacus got the shaft.
Whatever, dude. I think you were only one of 3 people that voted for Spartacus. I don't think they could get past that whole 3-hour mark thing. But we've got the second half of our semifinals this week, and to join us, we're going to bring in our guest reviewer again, Miss Stephanie Fuller.
Hey,
Hello.
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Hi.
So,
How are
how
you?
been?
I'm doing really well.
Good, good, good. What you been up to?
Well, when I was here last, we were in the middle of the series The Rain, a Netflix series. I finished that, and then I watched Cobra Kai.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
wow.
Everybody's told me how good it is, but I haven't dedicated the time to watch it just yet.
My Facebook blew up. It's blown up with Cobra Kai. So awesome. And we watched Cobra Kai. It's great. It's great. I can't wait for season 3.
I've only saw the pilot because I was curious to see, and I really liked it. I just, I'm there's so many things competing for my TV time, so it's on the to watch list a little bit further down in priority. But no, I think the premise is really interesting, and I'm curious to watch more. And I've been saying, just like you said, Stephanie, I've been hearing a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. So
2 big thumbs up.
RJ, you've seen the original Karate Kid, or yes or no?
I don't
That's
think.
a no.
Well, no, yeah, I have, but it's been a while. I couldn't sit here. I know I've seen it, but I couldn't sit here and tell you that I
Dude, I
remember.
thought after you'd watching it, you'd be practicing the crane kick.
Oh my God!
Wow.
So, Stephanie, aside from your Netflix, what else have you been doing?
Well, I was inspired by your top 5. And I realized that I haven't always kept up with some of the blockbusters. So I read Harry Potter, and I watched Harry Potter the movie because that was on RJ's top 5, and I hadn't seen that. It was very enjoyable, and that was a lot of fun. And then roll off your top 5 list, I watched The Quiet Man. I did.
What did you think of it?
Well, I took 2 pages of notes before I even got halfway through.
Okay, hold on. Before you start, you have to look past the fact of John Wayne trying to play an Irishman. Okay, that's part 1. Okay, I mean, if you can get past him playing Genghis Khan, you can get past him playing the Irishman. So, all right, let's have it. Let's hear it.
Well, he was brought up in America from the time he was 6, and I noticed that all the other actors were Irish. You know, Maureen O'Hara, Barry Fitzgerald, and it's such a gem. It was so much fun. I loved it. It was great, and the quips. There's so many zingers. I thought I'm going to find my favorite one. But there were so many. Who taught you to play patty fingers in the holy water? That was such a knee slapper.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I'm going to try to remember this one when I'm mad at someone. He'll regret it to his dying day if he lives that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fun. It was light. The colors were bright and happy. The music was happy. It's a film you can watch with your family. I wasn't surprised that John Wayne didn't make it through the movie without spanking the girl, but I'm gonna forgive it because it's a 1952 film. And I'm gonna allow it. She seemed to like it, so whatever floats their boats.
Right. Well, and the best part of that scene is, as Jay said, as he's dragging Maureen O'Hara back through town, all the way to confront his brother-in-law. How the lady, the older lady, comes up with a switch and she hands it to him, and says, "Here you go. This is basically something to beat your wife with,
Yeah, she said, "Here's a fine stick for you to be beating the wife with." I'm like, God dang, man, these people are savage, man.
But what I truly like mainly about the fight scene in that is that even though they're obviously fighting to settle their differences, they maintain a civility about them, right? So like when they get into the big brawl and everybody's jumping to a fighting and Michelin jumps on the cart and he shoots the gun, or the parabellum, as they say, pow, pow. And he said, "This is a private fight. Non-belligerent shall remain neutral. I thank you." You know, just the accent, the whole thing. I mean,
the only problem that I had with that scene is that he didn't shoot the gun up into the air. He shot it into the door.
Yeah,
of the
he
bar.
shot into the house, right? He shot it back.
Where that old general who's deaf and reading the newspaper can't hear shit is in there.
No, that's different. That's a different part. When he shoots the gun, they're still in the field. But you're right. When he shoots, he doesn't shoot it up. He shoots it back like he's actually shooting it into that house.
Yeah, I was like, man, he's gonna take somebody out.
It was fun all the way through.
Yeah, it's a good movie, and it's one of those movies. There are so many movies out there that I would never give a chance,
right?
Unless I got a recommendation from somebody. And the only reason why I watched that movie was because Roland was telling me about it, and I said, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And I watched it, and I liked it. I was like, it's not one of my top 10 like it is for Roland. But it's not a movie that, I wouldn't mind watching again and again. I've seen it multiple times now. I've seen it probably 10 times because it is. I mean, the music theme that plays throughout the whole movie, that whole it plays different parts of the movies and it plays throughout the theme. And, it's just it's one of those things that just kind of draws you to it and makes it memorable.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stephanie, I know Jay's list was kind of boring. Was there anything really for you to go look up off of his?
I can't remember Bull Durham. So I'd like to get to Bull Durham maybe this week. I'm familiar with the others. I'm not a big fan of animation, so I probably won't be getting to Aladdin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, for me, with Aladdin, it's not really so much about the animation; it is about the music. I'm
not musical.
I am. You know what? I'm a sucker for a musical. I really am. I mean, sound music is Well, Xanadu's got some good music. I don't know what to tell you.
I like to look at people's lists and then try to make a recommendation. Like, Roll, when I saw your list and I heard you talk about the 300 and the colors, it made me wonder, and since you have Godfather on your list too, it made me wonder if you've ever seen Sin City with Bruce Willis and Josh Hartnett.
I have.
Have you ever, you like that one too?
Yeah. I texted her, I'm like, I don't think that he's ever seen that one. It doesn't, I don't know, to me, knowing my brother, it doesn't look like a movie he would want to see.
Interesting, because I watch a lot of movies, and like for me, Bruce Willis is one of those actors that in certain roles he's really good, and in other roles, I like Bruce Willis overall because I loved when he came out in the series Moonlighting, right, with Sybil Shepherd. I love that series. Mm-hmm. I love the whole dynamic of that, the chemistry between the two of them. And overall, I really do like Bruce Willis as an actor. But there have been a couple of roles he's been in that but Sin City was a good movie. I like it.
My favorite Bruce Willis movie of all time?
Die Hard.
No.
It's on your list? Oh, wait. No, that's Vaughn's list. Sorry.
Yeah. Hudson Hawk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a great movie. He's really good at that one.
I mean, the storyline is so weak, but
it's
I love the character. I do love the character.
His character is really good.
Him and Danny Aiello in that movie, I love their scenes together.
Mm-hmm. So, Stephanie, let's. I'll tell you what. Let's. I know you were inspired by our top 5 list, and I'm kind of curious to see what your top 5 list.
Yeah, what's Stephanie's top 5?
Okay, well, number 5. I'm gonna go from number 5 is a movie that I had the characters poster on my wall, and when I met my husband in high school and he found that out, he just thought I was the coolest thing. And when I found out he liked this movie, I thought he was the coolest thing. So number 5 on my list is The Road Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love The Road Warrior. I love all of the real stunts. I love the costumes. I love the story behind the making of the movie. And I'm sorry, guys, I just love Mel Gibson. He is my ideal physical man. I like that lean look. And I have always his body of work, Mutiny on the Bounty, The Patriot, Signs, Ransom, Braveheart, We Were Soldiers. I mean, the world is just a better place because of Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's movies. So,
yeah, I think we all have that one actor or actress that, we wouldn't mind watching in whatever role they're in. For me, it's Angelina Jolie. I love Angelina Jolie.
You like
the
Baba Boom.
Olivia John.
No, I like the great Olivia Newton-John is great, but if we're ranking the actresses, for me, the top of the list is Angelina, and it always has been, always will be. Love me some Angelina.
So Road Warrior number 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stephanie, please.
Okay, the next 4 films all have a strong female presence.
Okay.
And they don't appear on any of your lists. But number 4, I get choked up. I can hardly talk about it because it's just such an emotional film for me, and that is Rocky.
Oh, yeah.
I love the story behind it. I love that Sylvester Stallone had less than $100 in his account and wouldn't sell his rights away to star in the film for big money. When they found out that he was going to star in it, they took the budget down from $2 million to $1 million. I don't know. I love Rocky. Yeah. I love the story about winning isn't always winning, just showing up, giving it your all, and going the distance. The music, the culture of that area, it's just Rocky.
No, and Talia Shire was one of my favorite characters throughout in fact, the last Rocky movie that came out, or the last couple that, where they pretty much wrote Adrian out because, they killed her off because of disease. I didn't nearly feel the same inspiration as the others because she was, whatever Rocky was facing, whatever he was going through,
she was his backbone.
Always the tough one. She was always there for him. And I think she is what drove him. Even though he wanted to be the champ, she is what drove him. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think Rocky's just one of those movies where, you're right that it's kind of weird that it didn't make any one of our top 5s because we were such big fans of Rocky growing up. And I think it's just one of those movies you take for granted because you love it so much that you would watch it no matter what, no matter when, no matter how, that you kind of don't rank it in your top 5 because you're like, oh, I've seen it 8 million times, and anytime that it's on, I'll put it on. So, all right.
I like it more every time I see it.
So how do you feel about the entire Rocky series? Are you just like, is Rocky just it for you, or Rocky 2? Because Rocky 2 has just about as compelling a story as Rocky 1. Rocky 3 is what kind of starts to go off.
There's just so much in Rocky. There's also the American Dream, and Apollo Creed giving a virtual unknown a shot at the title, and it had a positive black character in a time when there weren't a whole lot, and he was just a great character. Every character in that film was so believable, understandable. I mean, it's all great films, I think, have more than one storyline going on.
Yeah.
Okay,
so what's number 3?
Number 3 is, here's the girl in me coming out. I love The Last of the Mohicans.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie too.
It's not my favorite romance. My favorite romance is The Painted Veil, but I like The Last of the Mohicans better because you have such vivid costumes and the cinematography, and you have, like I said, the multiple storylines. You have the brothers and their relationship, one adopted and one biological, and the interesting dynamic of that with their father. And you have the sisters and their love for each other. You have the interesting relationship between the father and the daughters. And then, of course, the love story and the surviving in the wilderness, surviving at war. There's just a lot going on, and it's all believable.
Yeah.
So Daniel Day-Lewis is not. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his. I haven't never seen a lot of his movies. I don't know. I couldn't get through that one. I think I watched about 30 minutes of it and I was out. I don't know. I'm not the biggest, Western movie fan. I mean, what's that movie that Kevin Costner did?
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves, and even Tom Cruise, who's one of my favorite actors. When he did that, The Last Samurai, movies like that, they just kind of, I don't know, they just don't appeal for me for whatever reason. But hey, that it is what it is. Everybody, like I said, top 5 movies are what make people unique. So that's one for you. What's number 2?
Terminator. And y'all know number 1 is Aliens.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Terminator, the first Terminator movie, to me, and I think you and I had this discussion, Stephanie, is that I always thought the first Terminator was better than the second Terminator. And, but everybody gives all the love to Terminator 2, to T2, I guess it's just because the special effects were so much better.
Yeah.
There was more more budget for the movie after the first one, was such a hit. And Arnold started to become a bigger star than he was. So T2 became, that vehicle for his stardom. But I like the first Terminator movie. It was just a better story to me.
The love story gets me when Kyle Reese says to Sarah, "I came across time for you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, be still my heart."
Well, no, I mean, in the Terminator, when it came out, it was a really good original story,
right?
And I think that's definitely was a game changer, because we were still relatively young when it came out, and I know my father. Again, we do owe a lot to some of the movies that we watched because of my father. He was a big Rocky fan, right? So Sylvester Stallone was one of his favorite actors. My dad was really into the action movie genre, so Schwarzenegger was up there. Anybody that could kick ass was basically on his top 10.
Yeah,
and definitely Mel Gibson. I mean, he used to love the entire
Lethal Weapon
series. I mean, anytime those movies were on, our dad was tuned in.
Yep, Clint Eastwood was one of his.
Terminator was really one of the movies we liked watching too. And I agree with Jay. I think the first one was fresh, novel. It was a new story, and then of course, as technology got better and CGI got better, of course they could really dial up the special effects in the subsequent movies. But
and I think that with the Terminator, that this is kind of where you learn about James Cameron's genius. His storytelling genius, because this is a guy who was was relegated to, like, back when he was a production assistant. He was lights and special effects before he got into directing. But when he told that first story, and his first story turns out to be a blockbuster, and it turns out to be one of the biggest series of all time, that whole and it kind of lifted that genre back up to, because I think people were starting to lose interest in sci-fi movies around the time that Terminator came out. And then when Terminator 2 came out, that's when it really exploded, and that's when sci-fi started to explode again. And you built a whole franchise out of it. The Sarah Connor Chronicles, TV show, the spin-offs, it is one of the greatest ideas that dude has had, and it just goes to show his genius.
And he is the director of my top 2 movies.
Yeah,
Terminator and Aliens.
And it's funny that you look at a guy like James Cameron and how versatile he can be, because you look at him, he's got 2 really great sci-fi movies and 2 really great his background, and then he goes and does something like Titanic, this grand epic, love story / drama / but it's all set in reality. And then he does something like he goes back to the sci-fi bag with Avatar, You know, it seems like his ideas just get bigger and bigger. His budgets definitely got bigger and bigger. The stories definitely got better. Yeah, he's one of my favorite, directors. I like James Cameron, and I think one of the favorite things that he's done, other than is when he did the documentary about him going down to look at the Titanic. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. Y'all need to check that out.
I've seen parts of it.
It's like a damn movie itself. It's 2 hours long, but it's really cool to watch him go down inside that submarine and go down to the depths of the Titanic, and you just kind of get this spooky feeling. I can never do it, man. I'm not the most claustrophobic person in the world, but I don't know if I could get into this shell that's basically 5 feet across and 5 feet wide and dive down, however many thousand feet they went to go look for the freaking Titanic.
So,
it's pretty fun.
Stephanie, real quick, because Aliens, as we've discussed previously, and as you remind us, is your number one movie. What did you think about? Have you seen? I'm sure you've seen Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that one?
They're all fun because I love that genre, and I enjoy the scary parts and the unexpected. You can really lose yourself in that film without really being scared. I liked them all. But Aliens is my great love, and I'll forever be grateful to Ridley Scott in Alien because he's the one that chose to replace the male character Ripley with a female character Ripley. And I think that just made the franchise. It made it special, and casting Sigourney Weaver in that role, she's nice and tall and fit and articulate, and I love her.
Looks like you can kick your ass.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, she's
smart.
Like I said, there's just certain actors that play a role that you can never ever see anybody else playing that role, and that's definitely one of those roles.
Well, I'll tell you, Stephanie, your top five is a really good top five, and I've actually seen every single one of these movies. Road Warrior multiple times, Rocky multiple times, Terminator multiple times, Aliens multiple times. The only one I probably need to go back and rewatch is The Last of the Mohicans. I've seen it a couple of times, but it's been a while. But your top five is a solid top five.
I'll go back. I'll go give it a shot. I mean, it's just I'll like I said, I'm all about. There's a lot of movies I won't watch just because, but when I get a good recommendation about them, I'll check it out. What about you, RJ?
I've never seen The Last of the Mohicans, so I'll go check that one out. Obviously, I've seen Rocky, love it. Probably in the top 10 for me. I've seen Alien; it's a good one as well. Sigourney Weaver's had some great roles throughout her career, definitely. Let me see what other one.
Have you seen both of the? Have you seen the first one and the second one?
No,
Alien and Aliens.
No, I've not seen Aliens. I've seen the first one, but not the second one. So I'll
the
check
second one is the one that most people think is the best in the franchise, and that's the one that I love. That's the one that's on my list.
Okay,
James Cameron.
Yeah, I'll check that one out, and then also I've never heard of what was that one, The Road Warrior.
Really? Mad Max?
Road Warrior?
No.
Oh no. Okay, start with Mad Max.
Okay.
It's a low-budget Australian film.
Yeah.
And read about how they made it because it's pretty entertaining how they made it, and then go to The Road Warrior, and you can stop there. Same thing with Aliens. I tell people if I start with the first one, and the second one was made. Oh, how many? Let's see. Alien came out in '79, and Aliens came out in '86. I can't remember, but definitely watch them both.
Okay.
Well, if that's too much for you, go check out Sigourney Weaver and Ghostbusters. That's my Sigourney Weaver favorite.
So,
all right. So,
thanks for sharing that with us, Stephanie. We enjoy hearing about. Obviously, we're having fun talking about movies, and so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this week's movies, right?
Yeah.
So from the top bracket, we have Uncut Gems.
Oh, I hear Paige's rustling over there.
Yeah,
I think she's got a lot of notes.
Huh?
I think she's got a lot of notes.
This is my Uncut Gems notes.
Oh my God.
And then of course you'll also be giving us your scoring on Smokey and the Bandit, and then we'll take our vote as a show as to which one wins between these two. So with that said, Stephanie, go ahead, take it away.
Okay. Well, the first one I watched was Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay.
And I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score. It was 80%. I thought it would be higher because it's such a popular and well-known film. But then I looked up the Metacritic score, and I was really surprised that it was only a 50.
Really?
And yeah, I thought this is a cult classic almost. And of course, that was with only 6 critics because you don't have as many critics rating some of the older films, although this one didn't seem that old to me, being made in 1977. But I was armed for bear, if that's the right word, because I was ready to I thought, I'm not going to like this film. I've seen parts of it in the past, and I can't recall watching it straight through, and I'm going to write down all the things that offend me about this movie. So I started writing them down, but about halfway through the film, I stopped writing because it wasn't really offending me. And I thought, it's really not so bad.
Yeah.
And they're kind of annoyingly charming characters, and I can get over this, and particularly considering when the film was made. But I mean, there were things like the first offense I wrote down: when the race winner steals the kiss. He goes up there and he grabs the lady with the trophy and starts kissing her. I'm like, I don't like that. Okay, next. And then they were telling the lady, "What's your language, little lady?" I'm like, oh, that's a strike against it. Third offense, I am not going to like Burt Reynolds. I am not going to like Smokey, or I'm not going to like the Bandit because he littered.
Yeah.
But I realized that was just all about setting the character, and in the end, it was okay.
Okay.
I tolerated it. It was fine. The acting, I mean, sometimes slapstick and silliness are okay, and that's what this is. It's not my particular favorite, but I can appreciate it because it was done well. And by the way, I watched y'all's podcast, and I don't remember y'all talking about the writer of this film. Do you know about him?
No, the stunt person. That golly, the name escapes me right now.
Hal Needham.
Yeah, Hal Needham.
Did y'all talk about that?
No,
we briefly touched on it. I don't think we really went into depth, but Hal Needham. I actually did a little research, and I probably regret not talking more about him. But he actually made a couple of films with Burt Reynolds, and he had an interesting background because he was not only a writer, he was also a director, but he started off as a stuntman, right? Mm-hmm. And so he had a real interesting career, and we didn't know, to answer your question, I don't think we really went in depth about Hal, but
I thought that would be fun to mention because he did direct it. Yes. It was his directorial debut, and he wrote it. Mm-hmm. And he had been living in Burt Reynolds' guest house for like 12 years. Talked Burt Reynolds into doing it. So, but anyway, okay. So quick to the score. I gave the acting 4, but it was just Burt Reynolds being himself and Sally Field being her cute self too. So it didn't take much effort on their part, I don't think. Star power 4. Sally Field had been popular since she was a teeny bopper. Story was 3. somewhat believable. It holds your interest,
Right.
and the emotional buy-in, I actually gave it a 3 because I could relate to, if I stretched it, I could relate to some of these. I'm a real rule follower, and I think when I was little and I saw these scofflaws getting the attention, it bothered me. But now that I'm older, I see more shades of gray, and I'm not as easily offended.
Yeah.
So I got over that. Would I watch it again? Not likely.
Yeah.
So that's a total of 16.
16. So let me ask you, Stephanie, because you talked about Burt Reynolds and you talked about Sally Field. What do you think about Jackie Gleason's character, Sheriff Buford T. Justice?
He's a character. He's entertaining. He's fun. He's over the top, and it's those characters that contribute big time to a film.
Right.
Made it fun all the way through.
I actually, whenever I watch that film, I always tend to give more attention to Jackie Gleason's character and Paul Williams and the other one that plays his dad, Big and Little Enos. Those two, man, crack me up to no end. Just the way.
Well, just because they're such an odd pairing, right?
Yeah. And well, just the way Little Enos and the way he interacts with the Bandit, he's like, I want to, he's counting out $100 bills to give him. He's, man, I wouldn't mind slapping your mama, and he's cussing at him under his breath as he's pulling off his money because his, uber rich dad is over here talking about, hey, just here, give him money so he can go buy. He goes and buys a car, goes and buys new, he's got money for gas. He's got all these things that. And there's just this rich guy just so he can get some beer, and just for the sake of seeing if it can be done. I just want to see if somebody can do it. And I've got enough money. And see, I'm gonna tell you guys what. If I ever win the lotto and I get to be that rich, that's gonna be me. I'm just gonna be paying people to see just because I can. You know what? I want somebody to race to freaking North Carolina and bring me back some barbecue. See if you can do it in 36 hours. Just because I want some Carolina barbecue. That's going to be me if I ever get rich. I'm telling y'all right now.
And that's why you're not going to be.
Huh?
So, Jay,
whatever, dude.
did you you got Stephanie's score of 16 for the film?
Yeah, I got her down.
Okay. Perfect. So, yeah, I agree with you, Stephanie. It's a fun film. I think you always have to remember. You got to keep in the context of the time when it was made. Yeah. Obviously, there are so many things about the film that you can't get away with in today's.
Oh God, no, man! There's no way that movie could ever be made today. No way, dude. There would be protests and picket lines, and there would be because his character's so misogynistic, and just the whole you can tell. Buford T. Justice he's a racist, the way he talks down to that, the black sheriff, and even, the way he talks to his son and when he tells his son, I'm going to punch your mama in the mouth, you could never get away with saying those kind of crazy things in a movie now. I mean, it would you would get ripped up by the media.
And not just that, the real theme or the whole intention of the movie is them racing across several states to bring beer right back the other way.
Bootlegging.
And half the movie is all these police officers chasing Burt Reynolds, the bandit, right? Well, in today's society, he's got no chance.
Yeah. Well,
he's not getting away. It's just it's not going to happen, right? Not if you're sticking on a freeway system now. Obviously if he's going down in the neighborhoods and but even then with helicopters and radio systems now and heck even police vehicles having much more horsepower than even something like that Trans Am or anything. I mean, it's just you just couldn't do it.
Well, we got that Stephanie score of 16 for Smoking the Bandit. So let's talk about who it's going up against. Uncut Gems.
Okay.
That's the same kind of reaction we all kind of had to that movie.
I watched your podcast before I watched the film. So I was prepared and I went in with low expectations, but they weren't low enough. I wrote down after I finished the film, I want my money back. Only I didn't spend any money. So I've been toying with the idea of billing the producers for my time. I'm so irritated with this film. I cannot, for the life of me, understand the high IMDb rating, 7.4. And a 91 Metascore? What is that about?
Because it's got Adam Sandler in it. And you got to remember, the people who are scoring it are those knuckleheads who think that, what's that? The one where he goes back to kindergarten.
Big?
No. I see. That's huh? No, that's
Billy Madison.
Yeah. Happy Madison. These people who are rating this movie and giving him such a great score are the same ones that thought Happy Madison was the greatest thing ever.
Those are comedies.
Yeah.
This is a completely different genre. The Rotten Tomatoes score was 94% for critics and 93% for the audience. And who are these people that are rating this film? This made no sense to me. The main character was unsympathetic. He treated his 8-year employee poorly. He made his kid poop in someone else's apartment. There was nothing admirable about this guy. He had an addictive personality. I felt like just watching it, I was enabling him. I needed to pull him into rehab and take him into, a 48-year-old man going to the club scene, really?
Yeah.
Every second I watched this, I was irritated, bothered. I thought, I'm going to have my kids watch this movie just so they know how not to make a movie. It was bad in every way. The only good thing about it was that Adam Sandler was so irritating as his character that you really want to punch him in the face. He was believable in his role.
Yeah.
But I think for a good story, you have to be able to relate to it in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there was a single character in there that I could even partially relate to. So that brings me to my scoring. My emotional buy-in was a big goose egg. 0. I couldn't relate to anybody. The story, I have to admit, it did hold my interest, like y'all said, in the way that a car accident holds your interest.
Like watching a train wreck.
It was exactly like that. So I'm like, who's going to get slapped next? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
The acting, I thought everybody did act well in their roles, but they had no sympathetic characters in the story. That's a fatal flaw, in my opinion. Star power, it's really just Adam Sandler was the big name. There were some others I'm familiar with, but none that were like A+ listers. So it's mainly Adam Sandler, and I think a lot of his fans are going to be disappointed because they're used to and they like his comedy work. So they're going to go and watch him in this role that is so unpleasant and unlikable. I'm not sure. And when I watch it again, I gave it a -1 because you couldn't pay me.
Our first -1.
-1. So that is 8 points.
Wow.
For me, 8 points.
So, well, here's something that's going to irritate you even more, Stephanie. Is that Sandler's actually getting Oscar buzz for this role? When we talked about this movie, and I remember when we watched it, and I know for Roland, it kind of gave me the same kind of feeling. It's just I was so anxious throughout the entire film. Like I couldn't get over that, my anxiety for the scenes, man, were just so crowded and chaotic. And there were just times when I just really, I had to shut it off when I started watching it, because after that, particularly after the one scene when Kevin Garnett goes into the jewelry store where you got him vying for Adam Sandler's attention. You got the guy who's trying to fence the watches vying for his attention. You got his employee vying for his attention. You got the 2 mobsters that they had to kick out that are vying for his attention. You got the two fake mobsters, or the two, I don't even know what those two goony looking guys that were after him. You had all these people trying to get his attention. He's blowing them all off just to get to the box with the fish in it, so you could cut the diamonds out of it or whatever. And man, just everybody's talking over everybody. And Sandler's like, "Hey, yeah, go do that." Hey, it was it's so chaotic, so anxiety ridden that I couldn't do it.
Can you believe, Stephanie, that Vaughn saw that in the movie theaters?
God.
And he enjoyed it. I like Jay. I could not watch it in one sitting. We had to break it up. It was just so much tension, so much drama, so much chaos, so much noise that. And what was bizarre is the soundtrack that they kind of laid in the background of this movie. To me, it didn't fit. It was just so weird, and then I think it was meant more than anything just to create an additional layer of irritation for you, right? And
this movie was all about tone.
Oh, it was definitely
annoying tone. The tone became more important than the story, and the tone included what you said: the music and the busyness of the dialogue. It kind of reminded me of modern art. You know how some people go to the museum and you look at the modern art, and most of us just don't get it, right? Mm-hmm. This was like a modern art film. I don't know who these 94% Rotten Tomato people are. Maybe it was the sports guys buddies or something. Kevin Garnett, maybe he.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was actually okay in the film too, playing himself. I thought that was fun, but I'm glad it's over. Oof.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, when Uncut Gems was voted the winner in our tournament, I was dreading having to go back and watch it again. And I mean, I did a very, very abbreviated,
scan through.
Huh? Yes. I mean, it's just, again, it was so much so that even my wife, because she's, we watch the movies together. And, I always look to her sometimes to see her reaction to certain scenes, certain dialogue, certain chemistry between characters. And from the outset, she was just like me, and she was looking at me like, who in the hell chose this movie? And, it was a very, again, high intensity type movie view. And I think for the majority of us, we want to go to the movies to be entertained. We want to have some sort of feel good about it, even if it's a sorrowful story, right? Even if you still have a feel good, some sort of endorphin going on. There was absolutely none of that going on with that movie. It was just, it was like literally the person scratching their nails down the chalkboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good analogy for it. So RJ, let's what do you think about Stephanie's take on the movie? Because I know that you actually like this movie.
I mean, it's not, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a great movie. I just think it was more of the matchup of it versus Xanadu. I wouldn't sit here I'm not going to sit here and vouch for the movie because it was so great. Because honestly, I saw it twice. I don't think I probably won't see it again. But it was just a function of the matchup. And, it was also the very first review we were doing. Had it gone up probably against any other movie, I'd much rather watch Spartacus than Uncut Gems. But it's just how the cards played. And, Xanadu, there was no way. I mean, I'm sorry. not
even for the great.
Dude, you better put one more great in front of that because you're great.
Olivia Newton.
You're great, Olivia Newton-John.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Honestly, when the first time I didn't see it in theaters, and I don't know that I'd have been too happy paying for the ticket to see it. But I quarantine. Obviously the pandemic had started. We're all kind of starting to quarantine, and nothing much to do but really watch TV and kind of waste time. And so Uncut Gems had a lot of hype. I was like, let me go check it out. And I honestly felt like the trailer portrayed it differently than what the movie is. It's not at all what I was expecting. So I get a lot of Stephanie's issues with the movie because at the end of the day, it is a tense movie. I'm not going to sit here and say.
So, RJ, you touch up on something that has often bewildered me at times, and so. I want to get Stephanie's take on it because she's more of a true movie buff. But, RG brought up the fact about the trailer. And at times, I think we have been deceived.
Oh, I stopped watching movie trailers a long time ago, man.
Because you come away thinking from a trailer, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But then when you go to the actual movie, it's nothing like the trailer. You could see that the trailer was certainly carefully edited to give you just enough of the nibble that you're going to go for the bite, and then when you go for the bite, you're like, what did I bite into? I mean, so do you, Stephanie? Do you really spend a lot of time watching trailers at all?
I try to avoid comedy trailers because they always put their best jokes in there, and if I have a family member that wants me to go see or wants to watch a comedy with me, it's usually my family member's idea. Right. And I won't watch those trailers because I think comedies are the worst about giving away those jokes. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch the trailer on Uncut Gems. I don't know. Usually when I make the decision to see a film, especially if I've made the decision by word of mouth, I try to avoid the trailer.
Okay.
But don't watch a comedy trailer if you can avoid it.
And the worst part about trailers is in most trailers, and this is true, typically whenever I watch a movie or I'm watching a movie or I get enthralled by a movie, I will go to IMDb and I start looking at the trivia facts of it. But a lot of movies that you read, scenes that get put in trailers never make it into the movies to begin with. I mean, there are really, really big examples of where you go watch a trailer, you'll see a scene in a trailer, you go watch the movie and that scene never made it to the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a long time ago I kind of stopped watching trailers because I was like, you never know whether, this one part that you get excited for in the trailer is actually in the movie and it's not in the movie and you're like, well, what happened to that part? I think that like The Force Awakens was one of the ones that annoyed me. Because when I saw the trailer for Force Awakens at the movie theater, I was like, oh, man, this is going to be awesome. And there was one scene in there, and I can't remember what it is. I can't nail it down, but it didn't make it into the movie, and I was kind of annoyed that it didn't. I was like, man, in the trailer, that looks so awesome, but it's not anywhere in the movie. So it just, I mean, trailers are just, I stopped watching in believing trailers a long, long time ago. I don't know, man. That's just me, but.
All right. Well, so we got Stephanie's scoring, and so it's time for us to go ahead and take our vote here. Stephanie, I think we clearly understand who wins for you. So I'm going to say it's a safe bet to go with Smokey and the Bandit for Stephanie.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't think that in the history of this tournament and the history, if we ever do this tournament again, maybe next year we'll do another one. We'll get some new movies or whatever. Yeah, I want to see the next movie that gets a negative score.
So I think, Jay, when we do the promo for this one, we put in the tagline here. Stephanie give her first the show's first -1 score.
Or I'm just gonna put it as come here, Stephanie's controversial take. We'll build some character. All right. Let's get your vote, RJ.
I mean, Smokey and the Bandit. It's not the greatest movie, but it's definitely. I'd much rather watch that more times than I'd rather watch Uncut Gems. So.
Roll.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Smokey and the Bandit too. I mean, it's been it's Jay, when we were talking about this a while back. I mean, you and I probably seen that movie so many times.
Yeah.
We, just like you say, you can already recite a lot of Buford T. Justice's lines, verbatim, just because Dad loved that movie. We watched it all the time. Again, Dad was a huge Burt Reynolds fan, and so we saw a lot of movies that Burt Reynolds was in.
Yeah.
And this was one that was always, again, if it was on TV, if it was on satellite, when we first got the satellite, we were watching this movie.
You remember when Dad got on TV? That one. You had to put the key in to turn the little key in order to turn the cable on. That was awesome. Yeah, it was on there. But we're just gonna make this a clean sweep. Smokey and the Bandit is definitely gonna be our vote going in. I just, for the life of me, I'm like you, Stephanie. I can't fathom the people that actually like this movie. It's so unlikable. That's the problem. I think that Roll's analogy is very apt. The whole fingernails on the chalkboard, because that's kind of what this movie is for me. It's that finger on the chalkboard. It's that chair scraping across the floor, kind of, where you kind of, oh God, I can't, but I mean, it is what it is. But it looks like this is the end of the line for Uncut Gems. And so it looks like for the show, our semifinals kind of set. But, guys, it's not about the show. It's about our fans. So, hey, guys, let's get out there. Let's vote. RJ will have the poll up later on today. I'll place a poll in the cinema chat group. And we'll see what the people think. Smoking the Bandit or Uncut Gems. And, I'm kind of curious to see, maybe some of those Metascore critics are out there. Definitely come in and throw Smoking the Bandit under the bus.
Well, if they're in the cinema chat group, please go ahead and leave us some commentary as to why you can justify the score that it was given. I agree. The 90 score is too high.
Guys, there are. I think there is a significant portion of our society that really thrives on unnecessary drama. I mean, look at the state of our society right now with the election coming up, and not to get political, but I think we're truly so polarized right now. Everybody's just looking for more drama, and I think those of us that are a little bit more reconciliatory in our personalities are just going crazy. And I think this movie is emblematic of that. I think the people that enjoy drama and, the whole Nero watching, as Rome burns, or Clayton and Phil as Rome burns. I think there are a lot of people out there, and those are probably the ones that are supporting or giving Uncut Gems the score they're giving it, because I think they like seeing just the nonstop chaos.
Well, I was gonna say the other 48-year-old people in New York who feel that this was relatable to their life, so they're like, hell yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what, if you want to keep me on this podcast, stop using your 50-cent SMU words, because I can't. I don't even know what the hell reconciliatory means. You have to go look that one up.
That's a $1 SMU word there, buddy.
My bad. All right. Well, Stephanie, hey, thanks for coming on our show again. Next week, guys, we're gonna have the final by this point next week. We'll have our second semifinal winner. We know Casablanca's going into the finals. We'll get our entrant into the finals. And next week, guys, we got a real special program. We're gonna have our finals roundtable. Miss Stephanie will be joining us again. Vaughn will be joining us. We will be joined by our brother and black sheep of the family, Gabriel, and our cousin Sam will be joining us. Who's unfortunately, we wanted to slate him in for the tournament, but he had to back out last minute because he had a job function to go to. But he's just as big as a movie buff as the rest of us. He's constantly posting on, and he's actually in the Cinema Chat Facebook group. And it kind of threw me for a loop for a minute because I'm like, is that Sam, my cousin Sam? I had to open the profile and say, "Oh, that is my cousin Sam." And I texted him like, "What are you doing in this group? How did you get in this group? This was started by a guy I went to school with." He goes, "Oh, well, one of the guys that invited me worked with them, and so he invited me to the group because we watch, we talk about movies all the time." And I'm like, "Okay, well, there you go. It's a small world." But he's a big movie buff too, and I think it's going to be a good time for us. I think we've got a lot of topics to talk about, and then we'll get the final vote. We'll see who's going to take this tournament. I like my chances, but I think I know who it's going to be.
Yeah, I think we all kind of do, but let's see.
All right, Ms. Stephanie.
And again, yeah, thank you, Stephanie. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
your input, having you on. This has been fun. It's been great to hear again. I think one of the greatest things about us, the fluidity and the kind of the loose structure of our podcast is that we can have things like this and having different opinions. Because like I told you at the very beginning, sometimes, me and my brother tend to be a little bit myopic because we grew up in the same household with the same, with the same parents and we kind of view things. We're very like-minded in several things. So as we evolve,
and you'll have the same anatomy. I'm glad to bring a different set of anatomy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was great having you on, and
Thank
we'll
you.
look forward to next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sounds
See you
fun.
then.
All right, thanks,
Bye.
Stephanie.
Good night, Stephanie.
Well, guys, unfortunately, as you can see over my shoulder, the Stars lost today.
Oh no.
It will not be news when the podcast drops because it'll be Sunday by then.
Well, hopefully by then we'll have tied the series up. So
Yeah, hopefully we will. But yeah, the Stars kind of got it handed to them again today, 5-2, Tampa Bay. So
hope those Cowboys beat the Seahawks later on today on Sunday. So
go Cowboys.
and
Our listeners, are you guys ready for 18 weeks of this?
let's hope that the great CD Dry fantasy team can put together another W this week.
Boo.
All right. Well, let's take it home. Roll.
Well, real quick, one other thing, I just want to, obviously with us starting to come into, we're obviously in the middle of fall now, changing of the seasons. I want to throw out a shout out, and we didn't talk about this, but to the State Fair of Texas and Big Tex and Fletcher's Corny Dogs that are being served now at Golden Chick, which is one of my clients. Yeah. Unfortunately, the COVID thing has impacted so many things in our lives, including the State Fair, which is very, very unfortunate because, all of us, I think we all love this time of year, football, changing of the weather, and how can you not miss the State Fair of Texas? So,
Well, fall usually signifies the great battle between me and my wife of when she can pull out Christmas decorations. Because she's ready, man.
It's funny you said that. So my wife,
she was ready September 1st to put up the Christmas tree.
We spent the weekend. Well, we're not there on Christmas decorations, but my wife loves to decorate at the changing of the season. So our house is already fully decked in autumn wreaths, scarecrows.
I've got ghosts and pumpkins all over the place.
Well, we're not to the Halloween stuff yet. It's mainly just the scarecrows, and the pumpkins, not the jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins. A lot of leaves, a lot of oranges, yellows, and reds. It's really nice.
She also bought me a generic go football sign to put in the front.
What's that?
She also bought me a very generic go football sign to put in the front. It says go football.
Go sports.
Yeah, it goes.
But with that said, guys, hey, we want to thank you, the viewers, for sticking with us for another episode. I mean, we're just over an hour and change. Again, we have fun doing this. We really appreciate you sticking with us. And even if you're not able to watch us on the video, thanks for listening on all the audio formats, Podbean, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Man, RJ's right. Spotify, for whatever reason, is just not triggering here. But don't forget to visit us on, visit our Facebook page, Reddit, Instagram, and
don't forget to hit us up on YouTube, guys.
Yeah, and I was going to close with that. Don't forget. Yeah, don't forget to hit the notifications so that you get that turned on. So every time we drop one of these, you'll get a notification. Hit the like and subscribe button if you will. And if you want to, leave us a few comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so we hear about RJ's beard growing back.
Yeah, and Roland's beard getting shaved off, even though I really didn't have much of a beard.
RJ, I told your dad that his mustache fell out from stress from watching the Cowboy game.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, a few of these hair, I mean, you can see my bald spot is getting bigger. And it just happens to get that way every year with football. Cowboys, that'll be my death, man. I'm going to have a heart attack on a Sunday, and that'll be it. But anyway, thanks again, folks, for watching us. We really appreciate your time, and please vote. And give us your thoughts on Uncut Gems versus Smokey and the Bandit. With that said, guys, thank you again for your time, and we'll see you. Thank you to Jesse P, because we couldn't do without you. And thank you for watching another episode of the Now That You Mention It podcast with Roll J and RJ. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Guys.